Hi.
We're back.
Whew, that first session was very intimate.
I hope that you guys listened to part 1 because today we're doing part 2.
Yeah.
We are taking you on our journey through our life and how we got here today to create this beautiful show called Chosen by Jesus. My name is Kelley Tyan.
I'm Taylor Tyan.
And you're listening to Chosen by Jesus. We want to inspire, encourage, and just uplift you in your faith. That's what we're here to do because we want you to know that you're not alone.
Never.
Never. You don't have to go through life alone.
Nope.
No matter what you've done, no matter what your past is, God will renew all things that are lost, stolen, and that you think are burned to the ground. He can repair anything.
Yes.
And again, we hope that you're subscribing to the show. We want you to press the subscribe button because that is so important. That's how we can get our message out to help and inspire more people to know that they're chosen. They are. You're chosen.
Share your stories and prayers. We're here to pray over you guys as well. You know, this is a community we're building with. We want the audience to feel like they're a part of, our podcast and the message that we're getting. We want it to really hit home for you guys. Can everybody hear me?
No, she talk every episode. I'm going to say,
I know.
Can you talk louder?
I'm soft.
Remember, I'm Italian. Talking louder.
I'm doing my best.
She's very quiet, but
I just feel like I'm screaming.
No, you're not. But you're right. We do want to build a community. This is a show for everyone to be part of.
Yeah.
Because every single episode, we do have a prayer at the end. And we want to make sure you're submitting your prayer requests, whether it's right here on YouTube in the comments, DM us on Instagram, Chosen by Jesus. There are ways that you guys can send your prayer requests. Don't be afraid to. Everyone needs prayer.
Yeah.
You need prayer. I need prayer. And that's what we want to do. And we want to pull these prayers out, pray for you at the end of every single show.
Yep.
And build our community.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of things that God is doing in our lives. We have events coming up and conferences. So get involved with us. We don't want to just be on this side of the camera. We want to be with you in person.
Yep.
So thank you for being here. We're super excited to continue our testimony and how God really got us to where we are today.
Yep.
And so let's jump in.
Yeah, so I guess if you heard from before, do you want to start? We were kind of just wrapping up how we, over time, we're both struggling from different perspectives and how we had to talk about it and come together. Let's talk about how just confiding in each other opened that door of us to finally look towards Jesus, God.
Yes.
You had therapy sessions that didn't help. Like you had things, and I'm not discrediting that by any means, but there's such a powerful force that you guys don't even know that's literally right at your fingertips. It's for free, right at your disposal.
That's the difference.
Above.
I believe in therapy. I've been to lots of therapy sessions because we all need therapy at times, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's partnering with God. There's nothing like it.
That's the most powerful
It is free.
force.
It is available 24/7.
Yep.
And that's what we want you to know, that you don't have to wait for your weekly session, which is great because you do get to be in person with someone or on Zoom if you're doing, virtual appointments. But you have access to God 24/7.
Yep.
And until you really know that, it's life-changing.
The most powerful impact of your life doesn't cost a penny. And once you get that through your head and really take action, if you haven't already, prepare to just let him do his work, God's work, like he did for us. And like we're in this chapter of this episode, I guess you could say, let's dive into, we told you guys of all the horrible circumstances and the demons that we face, but let's talk about now, how did he physically pull us out of this? How did we get to where we are today, sitting in these exact chairs? Do you want to start off by beginning with after we talked it out? How did you turn a corner?
Well, we talked it out finally. We had family. And again, you have to remember, Taylor was 7 when I had Tony, my son,
Right.
her brother. And
Who didn't know about this until
all these years.
I was 22. We hit it.
We
literally hit it. Like, let's be real. That if Tony didn't know, he wasn't.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
First of all, as a mother, what am I going to say to my 7-year-old? Hey, by the way, buddy, so, years ago, I had a baby, and this is, I never was ready to do that. I just didn't think to have the conversation, and year would go on, and it would be in the back of my mind.
But it would eat us.
It was eating me up, but I was like, do I even have to tell him? Because why should I?
Yeah. And
We're
that's
such
crazy.
a happy family.
But the crazy thing is, like, the fact, like, go back, like, do I have to tell him? Like, that's how bad, guys, we just didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want my brother to think of me as a half sis. Like,
right.
I was like, that's my brother. I love him. There was a point where I was like holding him, and I'd be like, Mommy, I want him. I want to be with my brother my whole life. Like, I was just in love with my brother, and I did go through a phase where I was mad at Tony, and I wasn't mad, but I was jealous. I was a little girl, and he was this boy brought up into this perfect family that I had only wished for, and I was fighting my own demons. The poor kid, I would just make fun of it. I would do.
Oh, you ripped him apart.
I would be a bully because I was struggling.
You were a bully.
But again, you guys,
I know.
Think back, like, I have the biggest heart. I cry during weddings, and I hear wedding vows. Like, all I want is for everybody else around me to feel love and peace, and my heart's so full that it was so painful to not have that, and I reacted, and I hurt the ones that I love the most doing all of this.
I think that's normal. I think that's a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
We tend to hurt the ones we love the most.
Like, literally,
not
from
meaning to, but
family.
they're the closest to us, so we feel we can lash out at them.
Like, I would do that with my family and unfortunately the boyfriends that I was with, and I recognize that now, but you don't while you're going through it.
Right.
And
but that's where the love of Jesus really, it takes your world by, it's a storm.
Yes.
Like, what happened for me, I can start, because for me, so growing up the way I did and having my faith, I realized I really had faith, but I was lacking that peace and contentment really in my spirit.
You didn't have the relationship with him that you do today.
Right.
You were lacking.
I would pray.
Your blind faith. You didn't have blind faith yet.
Yes, exactly. I was very surface.
Yes.
Surface faith.
Yep.
It wasn't until, really, to be honest, it wasn't until after losing my mother. She's almost 7.5 years, almost 8 years this year.
I would say that was your wake-up call.
That was really when I knew, well, if my mother's not here anymore, she's not going to tell me about Jesus. She's not going to share with me Jesus.
And if we just
how am I going to do this myself?
Tell them, the people that don't, this is a really quick Cliff Notes version of the people that don't know her mother, my Grammy. She was the type that she'd have prayer chains. She'd have all the women and the men over, and she'd be praying on felons to this, to that. Like, anybody would walk in. Literally, the felons she would have over.
She would.
She had about 600 people plus at her funeral. We didn't even have room. She was an angel sent from heaven, doing God's work every day. She would have arthritis. She couldn't walk, and I would come home from school with a minor little headache, and Jesus, take her pain away and put it on. Like, she was just a breath of heaven.
Yes.
She was a
breath of heaven on earth.
She's sitting right now up there next to him in his throne. Like, I just know Grammy's right over there watching over us, and I just had to tell you guys, like, that's...
But let's touch on that for a quick minute. That's the power of prayer.
Yeah.
I want you guys to know, when I told you my story of meeting my husband, my mother prayed my husband into existence.
Yes.
She prayed I know she prayed and interceded for her daughter to find this guy who is a dream. I mean, our marriage is, he's the best dad, the best father, the best man, the best friend.
We could have drawn in our diaries when we were little girls this guy, and he blew it out of the water.
I mean, I'm the one that messed it up a lot in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. I was still trying to find my way. Thank God he stayed with me.
Yes. Amen.
But, amen.
Preach to that.
Right? Like,
give me a moment. Thank you, Jesus.
Oh, thank you, Jesus, that he stayed and was patient with me.
Oh, yes, Jesus.
But that's the power of our prayer, of our prayers.
Yes.
They matter. God hears them, every single one of them. And he knew the crying in our heart. And so after I lost my mother, I went through a very bad depression. And the only way I came out of that was getting on my knees and surrendering.
And let's go back a second. Think of everything's finally going right and we lose the rock. Grammy was my rock, your rock. In fact, she was the only person that I did confide these deep demons that I was facing, whether it's I don't feel like living today, Grammy. I just want to drink. Like, I just don't. She was the only one that knew these things. So for her to pass, for both of us to, I think we went through a phase where most people question God. Why, Jesus, why'd you have to take her? And I did. I don't know about you, and I feel awful, but I question the Lord. I have this pain, and now I'm supposed to go off. I was just graduating high school, and my rock passed. What do I do? She was the only one that knew my feelings deep down, and like you lost your mom and everything because I was a little witch going through my own stuff. You didn't have me to fall back on. So let's take this for a moment, guys. My mom felt so alone in her own way. I felt so alone in my own way. We only drifted. We drifted in that moment, again. Losing Grammy.
Yes.
That was
And I
tough.
went into isolation after that. And it was just a really hard time for us because, like you said, it would perfectly. She was the one that taught us about Jesus, and she's the one that would remind me to pray. And Kelley, you know, you going to church.
She made us feel like
and
the little bit of good in us, like
the little bit of good that we had. But she was an encourager. And just a rock in our life. And when my mom passed, I knew I was either really going to sink and drown. And really, I contemplated a lot of bad things because I was struggling so much. I mean, think of this. This is even, I was struggling with everything that we're talking about that I was hiding. So then I'm struggling with her pain. I was a struggling mess, like in every single way.
And I think we both tried to be strong, independent.
On the outside, you would have never known Kelley Tyan had anything wrong with her. I put the face on. I wore the mask. I was the mom. I was suffering inside like my husband probably doesn't even know that were behind closed doors in the shower, crying. Like, I didn't have her anymore to talk to. And yes, I have friends, but you know, my mom was that special to me, and I cherished every word she said because she had wisdom. She had godly wisdom that I only got from her. I didn't have I didn't have faith sisters around me encouraging me and saying, go to the Bible, go to the Word.
She was your light.
Because she was gone. And so that deep, dark hole I went in, then I didn't know how to talk about the whole thing going on with, you know, I didn't know what to do. And so it was so hard, but what happened for me was the breakthrough. I said, you know, I have a decision. I'm either going to die or I'm going to choose life. And my life meant opening this. And I remember just opening it and reading like a verse. And the verse that my mom, that I grew up on, and my kids grew up on, is Philippians 4:13.
Our favorite.
I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And I remembered that verse, so I went to Philippians, and that's what I read over and over. Little by little, I started climbing my way out of this deep, dark pit of grief. I mean, I was grieving so many things. Everything was, you guys know when you go through something really hard, that everything surfaces.
It feels like everything hits you at once.
It's
and
like
you feel like you're
everything's
drowning.
surfacing.
Yes.
So I'm battling, this whole thing about just feeling alone and where separating, then the isolation with that. And little by little, God restored me.
And
He
let's
brought
talk
me back
about,
to life.
though, how you were sad given your relationship with your mother. That's all you wanted with us, and it wasn't going in your direction.
Yes.
All you wanted was for Grammy, you lost her, and we never got further apart.
Right.
And that
You're
takes a
right.
toll. Yes, you and Grammy were like this.
And that's all
you
I
wanted in
was
your heart.
that for me and my daughter.
And we were the exact opposite.
Cold. It was cold.
Cold.
Like, it was really cold.
Like, so cold. And I
people look at us now.
I cry thinking about, like, I feel so bad, and I'm so sorry.
It's
again.
okay. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
I know. But you know what? For us to be where we are today, God through.
Right. And that's why, again, we're here. Like,
I know. Like, it's like overwhelming that God got us here.
That it's overwhelming to think about where we were and where we are today. And guys, we did the work with him.
Yes.
We didn't have a machine drill something in our brains. Like, this is literally, this is something free that you just have to be disciplined with your faith.
And we did it together.
And we did it together.
And we did it together. So me coming out of my depression and us, this all surfacing and us talking about it finally, having a family conversation. Like, guys, let's not hide this under the rug anymore. Like, this is our family.
Like, this is who reality.
Like, this is what happened.
These are the stepping stones. What are we going to do to go move on?
And we just want to be the happy family. And nothing changed in our family. We're thriving. But Taylor and I, in hindsight, we started really talking about our faith after Grammy, and we started pulling ourselves together.
Yeah.
And
I would say you had that, I guess, faith reality hit you a little sooner than me. I guess so. After once Grammy passed and everything, I had to go to college.
Right.
So think about this, guys. So my Grammy passes away, and I'm like, she couldn't walk.
2 weeks before you got on
2 weeks
graduation
before I had to go
stage.
walk on stage. So I literally had a picture I was holding of her, and not to mention my grampy, her father at the time was going through a stem cell transplant, so we thought he was passing.
So my dad was sick.
That's a whole other thing. Like, so there's a lot to unpack, guys, and we don't want to bombard you with all the woe is me, because that's not what we're here to do. But there is a lot going on so I remember one of my photos is like Grampy has no hair. He's like so sick, and he's holding a picture of my Grammy, and I'm in my cap and gown, and like that. I barely just made it across stage. I probably hid for like a month or two. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was going through my own feelings, and I just knew that Grammy wasn't as physically strong. So before I really extended my faith, my relationship with the Lord, first I was thinking physical. I was like, Grammy couldn't do anything. I go, I have no excuse. I was drinking, eating McDonald's. I'm like, what the heck? What was I? Oh God, not 20.
No, you were like 18.
I was 18. I was 18 going into college. I was like, I'm 18 years old. My body is my temple. I mean, I didn't treat it like that. Don't get me wrong. But I was thinking, like, my body is my temple. The least I could do for my Grammy is take care of myself physically.
Right, because she couldn't.
Because she could never. She had arthritis. She had an elliptical that she couldn't even go on. Her fingers, like everything. She just had.
We used to call that. My mother had a.
Like, what was it?
No, she had a stationary bike.
Yes,
like an old-fashioned '70s version.
No,
in
I can't.
In her room, that was a coat hanger.
Never used, right? So.
But she looked at it every day.
She did, and the one lesson she taught us was she could be all in shambles, but as long as she had her lipstick on and her hair, she could take on the world.